oh my God, I said I'm sorry. One example of what not to do. The 5 components of a good public apology. At this point, apologizing publicly for some kind of messed up is just an expectation. It's inevitable. For a lot of us, it's just a matter of when is it going to happen, not if it's ever going to happen. If done correctly, believe it or not, a public apology can actually work to strengthen your brand if done correctly. So today I'm going to walk you through the 5 components of a strong, solid public apology that can help you actually come out stronger than before. Step number 1, get your timing right. And here's what I mean. If you apologize too quickly and it's perceived as a knee-jerk reaction, something that you did in a perfunctory way, which means I'm doing it because I have to, so let me do it quickly to shut you down, then it's going to have the opposite effect. It will make you look insincere and show that you've had no true time to reflect on the accusations that have been brought against you. Whether they're true or not doesn't matter. So if you act too quickly, you risk it not looking sincere. However, if you wait too long, you're running the risk of people speculating, because no response is a response. And now when you finally come out of the woodwork to address it and to say you're sorry, not only are you combating people's, new poor perception of you, but you're also working against dismantling the speculations that they had to create in the meantime as they waited on you. I wish I could tell you, here's the certain amount of minutes or days you have to wait. I can't tell you that. It really depends on the severity of the offense. It depends on how much information is out or not. And also, with the presence of social media, it's kind of expedited the process of needing to apologize because the information tends to float very quickly and you don't want to give it time for people to kind of balloon in their speculations. And now you're working against this whole massive thing and it's just a mess. So try to find the sweet spot of your timing in order for the apology to be received well. The second thing you're going to have to do if you want an effective public apology is you are going to have to name the offense. That whole, I'm sorry for what transpired, my fans should know me better than that, is not going to work. Say the thing. Name the thing. This is an extension of taking ownership, is to name and claim. A part of naming the offense is not sharing it either. So you always hear people say, oh, you don't want to blame others. So even if you have one little sentence where you're saying, I'm sorry for my part, there were other people who, reel it back, baby. We're talking about you right now, so you need to be taking ownership. You will dilute your efforts if you point a finger and say, but what about them? We're talking about you right now. The third component of any strong public apology is to avoid trying to get sympathy and understanding from your audience. There's no way that you can apologize for a perceived transgression while simultaneously trying to seek empathy as the offender. It just doesn't work. This is kind of a throwback reference here, but way back in the day when there was the BP oil spill, I believe it was the CEO who was apologizing, and you can tell, you can see the exasperation, and then he says, this has been a really hard week for everyone. I just want to get back to my life.
No one who wants this thing over more than I do. I'd like my life back.
I'm sorry, what now? Even though it might be true that you are suffering and you've had your world turned upside down by whatever this very public thing is, to talk about how distressed you are or how out of sorts you're feeling and how much chaos you're experiencing is a bad look. We're not trying to minimize it, but it's all about timing. And this is not the time within your public apology to also seek sympathy for yourself. Okay? The two can't go together, at least not in the same conversation. The fourth and maybe most essential component of any public apology is stating next steps. So a lot of us are ending prematurely by saying, I'm sorry for the specific thing that transpired, and we're doing that in a timely manner, but then we end. You're not done. The next thing you should be doing is share what steps you're taking to make sure that whatever went down is not going to happen again. I think a lot of us avoid that because we don't like to sit in our mess and we don't like to feel bad and we want everybody to get over it. And because we're doing that, we're not planning for next steps. We just want this mess to be over. But you owe it to yourself, your audience, followers, consumers, customers, to show that you're truly sorry to the point where you're taking steps you're having conversations, you're doing some listening and some behind the scenes work to ensure that whatever that misstep was is not going to happen again. This is why we sometimes see celebrities say like, oh, I'm sorry for what I did, I'm gonna go to rehab for it. I mean, at this point, it's become like a classic, okay, I'll go to rehab, but it speaks to the truth of you have to demonstrate next steps because you are so understanding of where you went wrong and you have such a deep desire to correct yourself that you're taking next steps. But some of us are not communicating them because we don't have any. That apology ain't complete until you told me what you're going to do to fix it. And finally, and this seems a little counterintuitive, but you want to keep the conversation going. The worst thing you can do, in my opinion, is to say to the community, I'm sorry for these specific things I did. I definitely don't want to disappoint my community. I'm making sure that I'm taking these next steps to make sure it doesn't happen again. And then go to your social media and silence the comments. Because I'm communicating at that point that this is a one-way conversation. I'm just reporting to you, this is what's happening, but I don't want to hear any more from you. And people get a chance to explain and express their grievances. So that's pretty much like, let's take this in a relational sphere, right? If it's a romantic relationship or between friends, if I say I'm sorry, but then I turn around and leave, that person might have more to say or they want to bring more clarity, and I need to be adapting my next steps based on what they're sharing with me. But I can't do that if I silence their voice for a one-way dialogue. It doesn't work that way. So sit in the discomfort for a little bit. That's just what it is until people move on, because they always do. But you have to give people a chance to say their piece. And that means you're not meeting it with blame shifting or defending or justifying. You're letting them say their piece. And you sit in that. So you leave the comments open on social media. If people want to express their disappointment through private messages, you receive that and you respond. But the last thing you do is you shut people out. So show them ways in which you are listening and you have a desire to keep the conversation going. I mean, you do that, there's a chance you might emerge from the situation even stronger and more respected than you were going in. If done genuinely, and effectively, I guarantee that. If you're looking for somebody to help you when you find yourself in a tricky situation, I want you to contact me at callyourpublicists.com. That's publicist with an S. You essentially get a publicist on call. So anytime you do find yourself in a situation where you're like, we're in trouble, but I don't know what to say, you can pick up the phone and call me. So I'm going to tell you what to say and help you save your reputation in the meantime.